new Google Meeting link, and then we'll be good to go.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Welcome, everyone who's listening. Moses Strength Podcast, Episode 2. We got Jacob Manaska. It's Manaska, right?
Yeah.
Bro, when I sent you the t-shirt, for some reason I put like Manascar or something on there.
Yeah. That's my Instagram handle. So
Yeah, so Jacob Manaska from PWRLab in Salina, Texas. And then obviously we got Joe Villa, Moses Strength. All right. Honestly, we didn't really plan anything today. We're just kind of just gonna let it rip. But I think we should start out. I was looking at it. I DM'd you, I think June or July 24th of like 2024. So like
yeah.
that's like almost 2 years ago.
Oh yeah, damn, that has been a minute.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. Basically 2 years ago, which is kind of crazy. But little backstory, I was kind of still training to like play. And I came across like your page and was looking at it and everything, and I was like, yo, what is going on here? Because the time I saw the crazy verticals, I think I saw you guys were squatting with bands at that time, right? Still?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, but I saw you guys out of the garage and then out of the basically empty warehouse, and then it was kind of built up. Not as much as it is now, but that's kind of where we started. You wanna? I know you talked about it on Fahey's podcast, but like, kind of, how did you get into the training stuff?
Yeah, so I mean, I always like, training. I feel like in the baseball world, there's like a lot of us that just kind of like enjoy lifting. Um, and so, my buddy, his name's Law, he kind of introduced me to like the whole West Side stuff. And obviously like I fell in love with it, and he was super strong. Like he was benching 405 at like 18, 19. And he's a big guy. So he kind of introduced me to all that, and then like did it all throughout college, and would not like train my friends, but we would all train together, same style. And then when COVID hit, we had to like get a gym, like just like everyone was like scouring on Facebook, driving like across Texas just to buy like a crappy bench or whatever it was because nobody had anything. And then so my house kind of became, or my parents' house kind of became like the spot where everyone trained. And and then I finished playing and just had that stuff, and was like, dude, I don't really know what I want to do. Kind of, I don't know if you felt like that you were in the same boat, but I was like, well, I love this, so I just started training some kids, and then kind of that's just kind of where I've ended up,
Yeah,
luckily,
dude. When I was at Driveline, I think in 2019, 2018, 2019, I actually hit Law up on Twitter asking
Oh,
about bench.
Law.
I like kind of know him. I don't think he even knows who I am, but dude, I saw he benched some crazy number, and I asked him like, "Yo, how do you like bench?" And he's like, "Send me your program." And he was like, "Dude, I don't know what you're doing, but that is not what you're supposed to be doing." Like that's kind of. I saw him when he went to basically took the gap year at what 108.
Yeah, so we both took a Law's like my best friend. So he lived with me, and he took a gap year, and he was like, just take a gap year with me. And our hitting coach was like big on Twitter. If you I don't know if you follow like R.A. Parker back in the
Yeah.
day,
Yep.
but like that was our hitting coach, and he like kind of like my whole thing was like I was really good at like fielding and shit, and I just had no pop, and he kind of like him and Law kind of like transformed that in me. And so long story short, we ended up taking I took a gap semester. We had moved to Milwaukee, and then once I left, I was like I need to play. So because I didn't play that spring and he
Mhm.
played that spring. So I was like I went and played, and then he moved to California when our hitting coach got hurt by the Angels, and he was at 108 for a while, and then I don't really know what happened after that. I think he was at 108 the whole time, and then he went to like Howard and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So
and then I saw his stuff at Shreveport because he trained this kid named Owen like
yeah,
Napier.
Owen,
Yeah, yeah. I was
yeah.
with him. I lived with him at Driveline.
Okay,
So
small world. That's crazy
yeah,
small
bro.
world.
But yeah, I saw his videos and I was like, dude, what the fuck?
He's strong as shit.
Yeah, Joe. Just so you know, this kid. I think when he was at your gym, he put up 500, right? Like
Yeah, I
recently.
spotted him at
On the
500.
bench?
Yeah,
Or
on bench.
oh, damn.
And
Yeah,
at
we call him the T-Rex because he's got
yeah,
he could put up 115 EVs. Like he's a freak, you know.
yeah,
He's just
That's
one of those
crazy.
guys. But he's I mean he's built to bench. Like
Yeah,
he could have went and set some world records if he had some
that's crazy.
proper training and endless amounts of money and had time for it. He'd be really good at it.
yeah.
Yeah,
All right, but so let's go for anybody who follows or doesn't follow Power Labs, it's what Power Labs. What's the numbers?
Uh,
PWRLab.
P- yeah, PWRLab 469, our area
Yeah,
code.
469. And you used to be, dude. When I first started following you, I swear it was like 30 stories a day, just freaky stuff going on.
Yeah.
But at least when I look at your stuff, it's like when it was originally, it was a whole lot of bands, a whole lot of verticals. Now we got the force plates, a ton of baseball players throwing hard. Um, I would say we tried out, Joe. We tried out the bands with Cooper, right?
yeah,
Yeah, you want to
yeah.
kind of talk to how we did that and everything?
Oh, well, I got off the phone with Jacob. I took a bunch of notes on the how he was waving the bands. And so I think Cooper was doing it only took him like a week. Or no, not even a week.
Two
It was a week, but
sessions.
it was like 2 sessions.
Yeah.
And he was doing them at 80 per or no, 28 meters per second. Forget what band tension he was at. But we kept it there, just did everything like that. And I mean Cooper, like that was a huge PR. And it wasn't there weren't any other variables. It wasn't like it was something else. Like, Cooper he was one of those kids at the time where it's like he's in season. A PR for him would have just been like, how the hell are you going to PR kind of thing. He'd just come in and jump, and it's like you just know right away, like there's no PR that's going to happen today. And then he just out of nowhere did that. So
Yeah.
that opened my eyes up. So I was like, all right, this definitely, if you do it the right way, this definitely can work. And your name's Power Lab, so it's like definitely drives up the power kind of thing. So I saw
Yeah.
that with him,
How
and
would
I
you
think it worked.
how would you say like when you first started training out of the garage, like what's the difference between when you first started to, kind of what you're ripping right now?
Well, I mean, I'll be honest. Like I mean, I don't know about you guys, but when I first started training guys, I had an idea. It was a very like West Side based
Yeah.
like model, and like all they did was squat with bands. But then the more you learn about West Side and all this stuff, it's like okay, well they're squatting in bands because it's mimicking a suit, right? The strength curve of the suit and
Yeah,
all. So when I first started training these kids, I'm like, oh, we're doing bands, and like when you think about like building a business as well, it's like, all right, the more flashy
Fancy
stuff you can
stuff. Yep.
do, like the more like people are gonna be like, oh, that's sick. But like in my opinion, or in my mind, it wasn't that at all. It was just like, oh, like let's squat with bands. All we did was squat with bands. So I kind of think I had it backwards because I was squatting with bands so early in the off season. And I mean, obviously it's gonna work. Like anything you take just a novice athlete and like put them under the bar and change the stimulus, like it's gonna work. But
yeah,
I guess from what I've done then and now is like very early off season, we just build up straight weight. Um, and even with our football guys now, because they're ending their off season, but it's like we'll do like 3 4 months or 3 months of like straight weight, and their jumps will go up, but not at the rate of maybe what they would like for it to happen.
Mhm.
And I'm like, hey, if you just stick with it, like I promise you, I've had multiple off seasons now to where like I know what's gonna work. And it's like Joe said, like when we slap bands on these guys, like it's just like
Yeah.
crazy PRs like for months. And then the really advanced guys that are squatting, high threes, low fours, like we can do waves. I was telling Joe, we'll do like we have blacks, which are like the monster minis.
Mhm.
So you can do that, but we normally just start out with purples with most of the guys because they're pretty strong, and then which are like the average, and then we'll go like for the really advanced guys that can still put on 2 plates with like I think you guys have greens, which are like the fat ones.
Yeah.
They can like we have a kid who was squatting 225 with we have grays now, but they're the greens.
I've seen those ones.
Yeah, at point nine, and he's just a freak. Like he jumps at
That's
40,
crazy.
jumps at 44 on the mat, like a 27 on the force plates,
That's a
which
Carson.
y'all have now. Yeah, I forgot you guys had those.
Yeah, that's the Carson Roy kid.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude, he's like
Dude,
I don't know, man. The
bro,
kid's something else.
he's actually super interesting because the first time I saw him, I think has he jumped a 46 on the jump mat?
He did like a run in like 47 or 48, something
Yeah,
crazy like that. But I
and
mean, he can touch 11-1 and he's 5'11", you know.
yeah,
The depth drop thing was pretty crazy. That was one of the craziest ones. It was a 7 foot box.
Dude, it was like a 7-foot box and like
That's
which like we have no one that
no
does
knee
that.
bend.
So I tell him to do a vertical off the box and then land, and it's like
Yeah,
he'll like mess around with it where he'll just go like straight knee over toes and like instantly stop and like the amount I don't know, some sports scientists could probably tell us, but the amount of force that's like on your tendons and shit,
yeah, it's
it's probably
crazy.
crazy, but he can stop on a
Yeah,
dime. It's just one of those kids.
yeah,
It's like that Joey Fleming kid, like just a freak.
dude, yeah,
yeah, yeah.
dude. Funny thing about him is going from a 30 to a 38-1, what he's at now. Never squatted at our gym. Like we literally, he would
They
come
slid
in.
one time.
Yeah, he would come in 2 times a week, dumbbell jumps and bench for like 3 months, and it just went. He was so strong, he just never like actually trained. Um,
Yeah,
the rate of force development stuff at school. So it's like the second he touched it, the number just went stupid.
yeah, because they all do Olympic lifting runs. So it's like I don't really like Olympic lifting at all, but it's like even the people who are doing it, they're not doing it remotely close to like what would be good, and so he's like strong as hell, and a lot of those kids are. 'Cause you see these kids on Twitter, and like I'll comment sometimes just because I'm curious. Like they'll post some like double body. I don't know about double, but it's like some like really good like clean number, and they'll have a monster squat, and I'm like, "What's your vertical?" They're like 32.
Yeah,
I'm
there's
like,
more.
yeah, I don't want to say anything more, but in my head, I'm like, dude, you should jump like a 42. Like, how are you that? But it's because they're not able to use that force fast. And Joey was like that. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, our football guy, we have two football kids. One started at 22, he's like at 29 and like I want to say like 3 months. And the other kid, he's like 6'4", 6'5", he's 280. And he jumped to 25, I think his first day, and now he's at a 32. But we were squatting the first day against bands because I was like, all they're getting is like, and their strength program is honestly pretty interesting because they'll do like 6 sets of 3, 6 sets of 2, 6 sets of 4, which at a high school is like you don't see that very often.
yeah, yeah,
But
for sure.
he's like, I squat 450 or upwards of 500. I think he squatted 500, but it's like we're squatting against bands and they're doing like 185 against purples, which are like everyone at the gym that trains with the baseball players can do that at like point 0.7. And they're like, is this good? I'm like, dude, honestly, like it's really, really bad. I was
Yeah.
like, but it's so good that it's so good that you're bad at this because you're
Yeah.
just gonna go like
Yeah,
crazy. And then the past
100%. Yeah,
3 months, it's just like it's like this. And of course they're happy with it and I'm happy with it. But it's just interesting to see that these kids that are super strong, like they just can't tap in to like moving anything
yeah,
fast.
Well, dude,
yeah.
we have some basketball kids who come in and
Oh,
they'll
God.
jump a 37, 36, 37, like very, very fast. But like can barely squat 225. And like they're freaking out. And I'm like, dude, this is like a very good problem to have. Like you've got freaky bounce and you're nowhere close to strong. Like the second you touch 315, like 42 plus is like very, very within reach.
The problem is getting them to actually like get stronger. That's the hard part. It's just the whole like the culture of football, and you guys are know baseball so much better than me, but like for football is so like get strong. Like there's so much around that, like being strong, having a monster bat squatter, just for the sake of it, like having a huge power clean. But it's like basketball is like they just want to like walk in with their freaking Nike flip flops, you know what I mean, and like BS around, take forever to go, and it's like that's whatever. But it's like, dude, like we need your squat up by like 100 pounds right now. Like that's what we need ASAP. But it's getting them to do that. That's the
Well, it's
tough part,
interesting
I
too
guess.
because you see all these kids and they'll go train anywhere, and like I mean, y'all know there's not a lot of places that do what we do. And I tell parents this all the time. I'm like, look, like I have a bad business model because it's like like training takes 90 minutes most of the time,
Yep.
and anywhere else is like an hour, and it's like exos.
Yeah,
It's 30 minutes
yeah,
on the turf, and you lift for 30 minutes. It's like
yeah,
you warm up for a squat for 20 minutes, 30 minutes.
yeah, hundred
Um,
percent.
but like
Yeah,
these kids will spend their whole off season like, oh, my squat went up 100 pounds, but I'm not throwing any harder. And same with me when I was training and didn't know what I was doing. Same thing happened, and it's like, why is it not going up? It's like you're getting stronger, but you can't use that in a small window at all.
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
that's
Go ahead, Joe.
No, I was gonna say that's where you get like power lifters. Like power lifters will some of them that are actually good, they'll have some pretty good strength numbers, but like they're not. They might have an okay vertical, but and especially if you go anything faster than that, it's just terrible because it's like there's don't know how to use that strength.
Yeah.
I would say so. Why you've seen? I mean, you've seen the videos of us squatting. I think the biggest difference between us and what we do and what you do is we go safety bar like for everybody, and you go straight bar. What's kind of like the reasoning behind that for you?
The first video I ever took of the guys that I trained, we safety bar squatted, and they're like, "We want a straight bar," and I was like, "Okay." So I tried to put them on safety bar. Some of the kids, because we live in like a hotbed, which is pretty cool for like baseball athletes. So like we had two kids go to A&M last year to pitch, and we have another one this year, and like they all like the straight bar. But I'm like, unfortunately, when you go to wherever you go, that you have to
Yeah,
use a safety bar,
Mhm.
but they just don't want to use it. They just don't like it. And I've tried to. I mean, we have
that's
two.
weird.
Yeah, they just don't like it, and none of the high schools. I mean, I think no, it wasn't you, somebody else. They sent me, they're like, "Is this the high school?" It was like went viral because the Texas high school just got built, and they have like 20 SSBs in the weight room, and none of the kids use them or anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, they just don't like the safety bar. So I was just like, whatever, it's fine, because you have to have buy-in. Like they have to
Mhm.
like what they're doing to a point, you
Yeah,
know.
that's true.
So
Yeah, that's interesting. The only thing I think at one point, like before Joe was here, I switched people to straight bar. Because something happened to where like one kid's numbers was on. No, this one kid, it's true at Joe. I brought first day he comes in, give him the safety bar, about falls backwards. Like, dude, what are we doing? Like, never squat. Like doesn't know what he's doing. So we do like free squats for a while with the straight bar, and then I put him on a
yeah, they also
box,
do free squats a lot. I remember that.
dude. With it's honestly we do it more now because anybody under like 5'4" pretty much
Yeah,
rips free squats. And if they're older, they go pause. If they're younger, it's just up and down. But the one sixth grader we had, like jumps were kind of stalling as the numbers on the box squat were getting like
it's going crazy
1.4.
high.
Yeah, like he weighs 100 pounds and we're squatting like 170 on the
You
box.
talking
And
about which? Are you talking about
Sam,
Sam?
yeah,
He's not even 100. He's like 80.
yeah, and it's just like, yo, you're
Yeah,
squatting double body weight and the jumps are under 30. Like, this shouldn't be happening. So we switch
yeah,
him to the free squat. And, like, dude, we've noticed if you can switch a kid to the correct squat, like, the jumps will, like, follow super quick. Cause he went from almost jumping less with body weight than he does with dumbbells. And then we switch him to free squats and he just hit, I think, a 29.8. He's in
29.8.
sixth
Yeah,
grade. Um, But yeah, I went. But we have one kid, Truitt, who he goes. If he uses anything other than a straight bar, his jumps will fall off a cliff. Whereas everybody else, if they use anything other than a safety bar, the same thing, the jumps will fall off a cliff. So it's like, for whatever reason, the way he squats, he like sits back instead of like sits down. Um, but other than that, like everyone goes safety bar, and we even got the. How do you pronounce the bar?
oh, the Krepensek bar.
Yeah, we got that one
Krepensek.
now. That one's
Yeah.
freaky. Have you seen those?
I think Fahey had one called a spider bar, and it's got like a
No,
super long thing on it. I don't know if
no,
you know
you've
what it
seen it
is.
because you know. You said you went to explosive mechanics. It's the ones that are. Have you seen the yoke bars that he has?
Oh, like the stubby ones?
Yeah, that
Those
one.
ones, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Those are. I mean, yeah. It's they're a little bit harder. It's just the bends when it goes down. The camber is more towards 90. And to the guy who made them, his name is Ralph Krepensek. And I remember when I first went there, I was like, dude, I want to get one of these bars. I thought you could still like buy them or something. And like, I remember Jared was like, no, you can't buy it. He's like, message this guy though, like he'll get it to you. And so I messaged him, and he was like, he's super old. He's like, no, I sold the business, but he's like, I tell you like how to make it because my father-in-law's a welder. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll do that. Because when I used the bar the first time, I was like, what the hell? Like it sits so high up on your traps and then you feel it roll you forward a lot more. And so I was trying to get that. But anyways, long story short, that's basically what it does. It just shifts the load more forward. But Yeah, it is weird with Truett how he's like that, and isn't Aiden like that too? She does straight
Yeah,
bar.
we got this girl who like you give her safety bar squats cooked,
Yeah,
and then you put her back on a straight bar and like I think she's at like a 26.5, started at like an 18.
yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
Weird. But you can get a lot. I mean, you're using straight bar, and it's like
The numbers
I
still go
use.
crazy.
Yeah, I used straight bar for the first year I was training. I didn't use a safety bar. So you don't. Yeah, I think it can help in certain cases, but like everything is what it is. Like it's really about just doing it for a long time, kind of thing. And it's
Yeah.
like if you use a straight bar, like some of the numbers you're talking about, like when they're using purple bands and they're moving it at these speeds, or like double purple, sorry, stuff like that. It's like you're straight bar or not, like that's a lot of weight to be moving fast, and that's just what it comes down to, kind of thing. Is doing that.
We used uh we used the safety bars a lot last spring. We had like a
Mm,
group of kids that got cut, and I was like, y'all need to keep training, and like, and we like would always have them out, and they would love them. Like, it's
huh?
just one of those things where like if it's not out, like people won't use it, and if it is, people will. But then the problem is like when you have 15 kids in there and two kids want to use the safety bar and the
Yeah.
rest don't, it's like, all right, well then it's screwing up the whole flow of everything, you
Yeah,
know. So
yeah, definitely. That's an aspect to it. You have to have a system where it's like obviously things are individualized, but at the same time, I was talking to James about it earlier, where it's like you have to have a system where it's like it's hard to fail, and just everything flows so well. So if you have like we have two kids that come to the gym right now, where it's like they do stuff just totally different than like literally what everyone else does. Like they're such a like unique case, and it's not for their athletics. It's because they're not trying to be an athlete. They're like, oh, I just want to get like swole,
Mhm.
so they're doing like straight bar because we do yoke bar. So it's like they're the opposite. They're doing the straight bar that messes it up. Then it's like oh they're doing like a lower box or something like that. So it really is just like a pain in the ass sometimes when they come in and it's like, gosh, like that whole rack is just for them for like a
yeah.
whole hour or so kind of thing, but
We had a 7 foot basketball player, and I'm like, bro, like
oh yeah, that fucks
I
up.
I hate this, but like you have to
Yeah.
wait till like 12:30 in the summer when
No
there's
one's
not that many
there.
people here
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
like you have the whole nobody can even squat with you. Like it's a pull up bar.
7 foot? That's
Yeah,
fucking
he's
crazy,
seven
dude.
foot. Yeah, and he's strong. You can squat 315 to
Wow.
like I just give him like a black pad that you buy off
Yeah.
Amazon, and he can squat 315 to it. Like he's kind of it's kind of crazy. I'm like
That's
you can
crazy.
7 foot, you can squat parallel 315.
There was one kid with us that's a seventh grader and he was like 6'3", just like so uncoordinated. Obviously, just he's fucking 6'3" in the seventh grade, but like his jump just looked like so bad, and he's everything he did really looked bad. But like, yeah, he's not with us right now. He got really busy with basketball, but yeah, and he same thing. We were like, holy shit, like please don't get taller because like the rack literally is not. Like, we don't know what we're gonna do, bro.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what you're gonna do, bro. Like just
Yeah.
have to get a new rack just for you, but. Yeah, that puts a monkey wrench in things when you got guys like that. Um, but that's like kind of like the whole name of the game with shit, right? Because I mean, the kids would get an injury, so they might have to do something a little bit different, and then it's like, oh fuck, like okay, they gotta do this whole different thing. You gotta show them that whole different thing because they're kids. They don't know what the fuck anything is, you know. It's you're not like us, where it's like you send somebody like, "Hey, do Nordic curls," and you don't know what it is. You're like, "Oh, YouTube it." The kid's like, "What is
YouTube,
this
right?
thing?"
Yeah.
Yeah, what is this? He's like, get on that Nordic board, put your knees on there. They face the wrong way. You're like, oh fuck, okay, like now I gotta go over there, fucking show them this shit. Like, yeah, it's gonna be difficult, man.
I got some remote kids, and they'll be like, what is this? And I'm like, dude, like, YouTube, like,
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah,
crazy. It's nothing crazy named. Like, just look it up.
yeah, that is pretty. Yeah, when it's like a normal last name like that, like even like what's it called? Or like tape press, or like it's like people call it like folding. It's like, bro, if you look up tape press, you find out what it is. Like you don't, I don't know. Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah. So, all right. One thing I kind of want to go back to because Joe and I talk about it a ton is the first time I ever saw the Carson Roy kid jump. he did like the classic like raise your legs up. But now when he jumps, it's like very, very, what I'd call like straight and pretty strict. And one thing, dude, every time we post a video, it gets ripped for, oh, he bent his knees, oh, this and that. But
Yeah.
what we talk about a lot of times is like uh the whole point of jumping, like in order to improve it, like you have to go max effort. And like to a point, if you overcoach the form, you're not gonna get like the max effort out of it. So like how did you when like what do you do for like when a guy comes in, like, are you telling them anything for jump form, or you just kind of let him go?
Um, no, so it's funny because it comes in waves where it's like we have this like class and like they would jump like this and then they graduated and then people wouldn't see it as much. So like we didn't have a problem with people like kipping the jump is like what people would tell me at the start. And then you get some like kind of unathletic kids, right? And for some reason, like I see it a lot in girls too. They like kip their
Yeah.
Yep.
jumps. Um
Yeah. That is
I
weird.
don't
I've noticed that.
I don't really know why. We like I think in Carson's like really really smart. Like he's like really smart, and so I think he like lives in the gym. Like anything we do, he'll like he sent me a video like the other day, and I was on vacation. It was like 10 o'clock at night, and he was like ripping on the Kaiser, and he'll just be in there for hours, just like doing stuff like that. But I think he was like, okay, I found a strategy that helps me jump higher. I'm gonna do it, right? And he was trying to keep up with the older kids.
Mhm.
And he told me the other day, he was like, I remember when he told me, he watched a kid bench 315. He was like, "Do you think I'm ever gonna do that?" And I was like, "Probably not, bro," because he was like 120 pounds. And he benched 285 the other day, and he was like, "Remember when you told me I want to bench 315?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Yeah, I remember that." And I was like, "Yeah, well, you aren't going to now, you know." But I guess where I'm going with this is like he's always examining people and to that are better than him and finding like a way to not necessarily like cheat it, right? But he's like, how can I get the highest number? How
Yep.
can I get the highest number on
Yeah.
squat? How can I manipulate the Kaiser, right? But at the end of the day, like nobody cares if you're ripping 4,000 on the Kaiser or jumping a 40, right? Like, is it translating? So
Yeah.
that's kind of like with me, right? Like, it doesn't matter. I talked this on Twitter. It's like nobody cares about a 40. Like, you can't cheat a 40. I've never seen anyone that can go from a 30 to a 40, and people think you can squat and land on your ass, and it's
Yeah.
like up like 2 inches, you know? And you guys
Yeah.
talk about that too. So,
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Dude, I think
But
yesterday I had a kid. No, it was Jude. Dude, quite literally
maxed
landed,
out.
bro,
Yeah.
maxed it out. Like the best you
No
could ever
less.
like quote unquote cheat the jump mat, like landed where he was basically in the bottom of a squat and his like ass was this far off the ground. So the second he landed, he busted his ass and he PR'd by I think like point one.
yeah, we had a kid jump a 40. He was the first one. And then he was like, "Oh, I can cheat it." And then he got like a 41, like one or something. And I was like, see, like, because
Yeah.
like they're always trying, people are always trying to disprove whether they're on your team or whether they're a hater against Moses Strength, right?
Yeah.
But I had a kid stop me at a baseball game like a month ago, and he was like, "Yo, why do you post fake jumps? Carson doesn't jump that high." And we were at his game, and I was like, "Well, just come in and jump. Like, you're probably not going to jump a 30." And he like
Yeah.
laughed, you know, and I was
They
just
never
like,
come either when they
and
do
but
that.
again, that's why I got the force plates because people are like, oh, they don't do this and that, and it's like, okay, well, I mean, this kid jumped to 27-1 on the force plates. Like, go to a
Yeah.
college and find a kid that can do that. There might be one at every Power Five school.
Yeah. And the
Mhm.
thing is, so like what I've noticed with the landing technique is like the thing is like yeah, no, for one, James is right about that. Where it's like intent, right? Like if you are focused on like landing so much in a especially when it's like you're focused on landing straight laid, you might not be putting in 100% effort into the jump. Because like what we could all do, which would be super stupid, but we could all just have everybody do only the vertex, and then there'd be like no way. Because like the vertex is like assuming that you set up everything with the reach, right? Like there's really not like a cheat per se. Like assuming the test is valid. Now, obviously, constraints and shit would be absolutely ridiculous. That would be like the most best way to fuck up the flow of the gym. But like, let's say you did it, you could do it. But the problem with the vertex is like now you're trying to produce power with constraints because you have to jump and touch something. So it's literally harder. Like it's very, very rare that someone comes in and jumps higher on a vertex. It's almost never. And it's because you're going from just all right, just rip a jump, just go to like all right, do that, but like wait, now you have to look at that object in the air and touch it at the right time. And so if you put force plates underneath the plate or something like or underneath the vertex, you probably produce less power. And then same thing with the jump mat, like you probably produce more power. And that's what we're fucking going for because we're not fucking training a bunch of kids to be pro dunkers most of the time. It's like kids who are playing baseball, who gives a fuck if he has hops or not? I want to see if he has power. And if the kid can jump, like, yeah, 44, he clearly has fucking power. And I've never seen a kid jump that high. And I'm like, oh, yeah, this guy's like freaking sucks. Like, he just sucks at everything. It's like, no, they're very good at something with power. And it's like, that's what people don't understand it. But another thing, when you actually jump, I still wouldn't coach the landing, but it's really hard to coach straight leg landing if you're literally only getting like 18 to 20 inches off the ground. Like, why would I've seen kids come in and yeah, like their PR on the mat without telling them anything is like 19, 20, terrible, right? And they're weak. They're everything to do with unathletic. Why would I tell that kid, all right, land with straight legs, bro? They're getting like barely off the ground. Like there's no landing. Like they're not even getting off the ground. So it's like now if you're jumping 46, you actually have time to like move your legs. But that's what I'm saying is that people just it's crazy, man. It's just people just be hating, they don't understand, like you said, like how hard it is to like get a 40, and I've seen crazy stuff on Instagram. I saw this one with this kid with this like crazy landing, but it's like at the end of the day, like I know it's like, it is hard to get that. And we had a kid come in today who jumped a 43. And like but he's athletic. He's really athletic. Really, really, really athletic. It's like he didn't cheat his way there. But I've never seen a kid come in, like you said, jumping even in the low 30s. Like the kid we had this weekend, James, the kicker. No way in hell. He jumped up to 34. Impossible. There's no way he's getting a 40. Like it's not happening. But these guys act like that's what's happening, and it's like it's not the way it works,
Yeah.
unfortunately. Yeah.
But it's all percentile. That's what I tell people. Like, we have whiteboards just like you guys all over the gym,
Yeah.
and it's like nobody. We're not building Olympic jumpers. Like,
Yeah.
doesn't matter. It's all just about like, hey, you should try to hit a 40 because this is why it's going to help you. You know,
Yeah.
if the gold standard was 30, then it would be, oh, he's cheating a 30. Like, dude,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. It really does not matter at all. It's all about the transfer.
Yeah. I think the most people that hate on it are like people who are like I think a lot of them they seem like they're always like jumping people, like anyone that does stuff with jumps, like pro dunker or like, I mean, a lot of them are just probably bots, to be honest. But there are like the people who are, there's people who are, I look at their profile and they're like, yeah, pro dunker. So I'm like, okay, your niche, everything you do is like jumping, like height. So of course, you're looking at this through a different lens than I'm looking at this. Like, I don't really, it's funny you said that about the girls with the landing or just everything, the kipping it and everything. So I noticed back where I used to work in Seattle, there was two, no, there was like, geez, there's like three girls who was like, bro, they would jump and it was just like the most atrocious fucking like everything. And I'd always noticed it'd be the girls. Like the guys can get that way, but the girls would really do that. Um, no idea why that is, but it's just what they do. But again, I don't really care. The only time I would ever care about that in any regard would be like if someone came in and like, hey, I'm such and such and I want to be a pro dunker and like I want to like I don't know, and then I'd be like, yeah, maybe you just go use the, even then I probably wouldn't even do it. So I'd be like, okay, just get to a 40 first, then we'll talk, you know what I mean? Like then we'll worry about stuff like that. It's like if you don't even have the ability to do that, why are you even worried about testing constraints, like, and that's what all these guys do. They want everyone, and we have force plates too now, so I'm not against force plates, but it's like a lot of these coaches, they're like, oh yeah, put him on force plates. Let's see, put him on force plates. I go to their profile. I'm like, so you think that your guy jumping and it looks like the shittiest counter movement jump I've ever seen in my life? Like, there's like no fucking airtime at all. That was probably the worst power output. Do you think that's more impressive than this kid doing the most knee tuck 42-inch vertical? Like, no, that is a lot more impressive than that. Like, anybody can just get, I could get all the most the unathletic kids at our gym to go jump off force plates and just be like, wow, look at the yellow part on this graph right here, like blah 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 blah, and it's like, oh, it doesn't do anything. But
Yeah.
so I say about that.
All right, so we can get into so for the most part, we pretty much I wouldn't say we train the kids the same, but what's the breakdown of like athletes you have like by sport?
What is the what?
The like breakdown of athletes you have by sport.
Let's say it's probably 95% baseball.
Okay.
Wow.
So
So
Yeah.
yeah, so because I think the one thing I know for a fact we do a lot different is bench because we go no. I mean, I've had one baseball kid go banded bench, but he was a pitcher. Other than that, we're ripping just straight weight on bench. So like, what's the kind of thought process reasoning behind like the bands on the bench?
um well, like you can accelerate to the full range. So like if you took like a kid's 50% max on bench and told him to move it fast,
Mm.
like it's he's gonna fly off the bench. Like his shoulder is that nice like tight upper back he has is gonna come out. He can't accelerate to the full range. And again, it was like a West Side thing, right? But I wanted to like I listened to them talk a lot about like ballistic benching and stuff like that. And again, the first off season I had was like purely like, oh, I hope this works. Like I was training these kids for free, and then I was like, can you guys give me $100 so I can buy a jump mat? And then that off
Hmm.
season, we had a kid go from 80 to 87, a kid go from 84 to 90, and then a kid who was already 90, but he like cut his finger up sliding, so we didn't know what he was off the mound. But we had those two kids that gained, like six and seven, and then after that, I was like, all right. So what we do like a lower upper full body split. So
Mm,
we always box squat, and then the Wednesday is always like a heavy bench, and then Friday is always speed bench, um, with like a speed trap bar deadlift. And then something that we've done this the past 2 summers, and it's worked really well. I took like a powerlifting approach because my buddy, I coached him, and he was on the UT powerlifting team, and so if you know like about powerlifters, they always do a top set and they always do back downs. And so I was like, okay, maybe we can potentiate the nervous system. And so what we were doing, we do like 2 sets of 2 at like point 0.5 or 0.45 or whatever, 3 sets of 1, whatever you want to do, something heavy. And then we would back down and try to throw like as much band tension as we could and go like a 1-2 or 1-1. And we did this 2 summers ago, and my first client, he's a really short kid that throws really hard. He went from 87 to 91, and look, we had a bunch of other kids, but I'm just naming this one kid.
mm,
And then last summer he was kind of like back down in like the 86 range, and then he hit 92. And then last week he actually hit 92 off the mound for his first pen. So like the ballistic benching, I think is like super important just for like upper body rate of force development. And like obviously, like we want to get them really strong, but like we even had a kid, he was like 88, 90 all summer, and he started coming to train, and he went to Ohio State and hit 94 after a month. And like I think the jumps are really important. But this like he could barely bench 135. And I was like, dude, you throw
Oh,
94.
interesting.
I was like, you throw 94 and you are like weak. I'm like,
mhm.
I'm not shitting on you, but like this is sick. Like you're so weak. And he's benching like low twos now, but like the speed bench, I think is super important just from like a throwing standpoint.
Yeah.
And I,
So
you
what
know,
is his wait, he benches in the low twos. Do you
like low twos, like 205, 210.
yeah,
He
do
throws
you
95.
track his so obviously okay, you're doing bands on the bench. Do you have like are you tracking the velocity of it too with the bands per bench?
Yeah, so we're always going at a speed. And also, I think something that's super underrated is like if we go hard Monday and Wednesday, um, there's like it's not like a built-in deload, but you're giving your body a rest from that heavy weight. And obviously, like if you were to squat heavy,
Oh, for sure, yeah.
and then you squatted super light, like you're gonna probably feel way more beat up after that heavy session. And so I think keeping them fresh, because I mean, y'all are in Alabama, like these kids, baseball kids, like they're playing year round. And so I think that Friday lift is just super good because it's all just like moving shit super, super fast. And
Yeah.
the accessories we do are more of like, I'm like, hey, do it heavy. But we do like a lot of like banded speed RDLs, like demo deadlifts, like what West Side calls them.
Yeah.
But I try to keep like Friday just like very, very dynamic, just because like
Mhm.
even if we can do it, we can keep it the same all year round because when they play in tournaments, it's like, oh, they feel good,
Mhm.
like you're not going to be sore on Friday. So it's like I feel like I built a system that can be used year round and then just control how much volume we're doing on the heavier days based on when they're playing.
Yeah, 'cause, that's really interesting. Well, for one, I definitely agree because 'cause I've talked to James about where it's like, with football, for example, like, a lot of these places, like, not I don't know SP, but I know like with Tony Villani and these guys, like, they get guys and they only have them for like a few months. And it's like they don't really do a lot of heavy weightlifting. Cause it's like you gotta think like how much strength are you really putting on somebody, especially at that level. You're not talking about a sixth grader, but someone who's already pretty strong. They've already played D1 out of weight, been in a weight room where they're strong. How strong are you really gonna get them? So anyways, it's like what you can really do is just get them to move really, really fast. And that's kind of what you'd want to do anyways, because if you're going to run as fast as you possibly can, but you only have a certain amount of time to get to that event, you need to just be moving. And that's what's going to get you faster. And so going into what you're saying, I mean, yeah, heavy strength work, it's like we all need it, but it's like, yeah, it definitely dampens the nervous system for sure.
That's
It's
one
just,
thing. Yeah.
yeah,
That's one thing I read about, like, probably in the past, like, 8 months where I was like, "Okay, I was like, "That's a good point." I didn't realize I was doing it, but, like, people talk about dulling the nervous system, and I was
yeah,
like, I wasn't thinking about it, but I was making a day that was specifically to make sure that didn't happen. But, like, we had a
yeah.
football kid, he throws shot just for fun. It's the big 6'5",
Oh,
280 kid. He went from 38 on a shot to 52 in like 3 months, and all we did was speed benching. And like I was like, pick a band because he benches 335. His bench went up 20 pounds in like 2 months. But I was like, pick a band and like let's just speed bench against it because we have these fat like short bands,
Mhm.
and so like the gray ones are 180 pounds together. And so I was like, we do gray sometime, we do orange sometime, we do the Monster Mini shorts, which are like they're like 100,
yeah.
and like he added 14 feet on a shot. And I was like, dude, like, yeah, you're like, we're building a thrower. Like, you go back to like reading about the Russians and all that
Yeah,
stuff. Like, and like he obviously got better at shot. But like he's just tapping into like that upper body stuff that he was never doing before.
yeah, yeah. No, I mean, okay, so like, yeah, there's so much stuff with that. I mean, okay, for one, this is another thing. Like, a lot of people will talk about. I know you guys have probably seen that study. That it always circles around Instagram like every fucking 6 months, where it's like, oh my god, quarter squats are like better than regular squats for like, jumping and sprinting and blah blah blah. But a lot of people, and this is the way I interpret it, and a lot of people don't understand that it's like, okay, why is that? Is it really because of the range of motion? Probably not. What it really is that when you're going to a deep, when you're going into like a deep back squat, you're loading your spine even more, and it's like because of that, your CNS is taxed more heavily. And it's like, that's probably what it is. It's like if you're always squatting deep. Because the study isn't a fucking 3 year study. It's like, oh, they did this for like a month or two. So it's like, if you do that for a month or two, yeah, your power out, like you're peaking. That's what it is. You're peaking. And in America with like the culture here and like the way everything's set up, it's like people don't really do yearly periodization. So it's like in another place, you might do like all this GPP work, then you're doing like your heavy strength work, then you have like this 2 month period where, oh yeah, you're doing quarter squats with like a fucking band and you're peaking. And then now you get your best numbers. But it's like here that might not be applicable, so there's that aspect to it. But then also, like you said, okay, his bench went up in weight. Well, a lot of people don't understand that, strength will make you faster, like straight weight, heavy grinding reps, but speed will also make you stronger. It's like people will get too caught up in like one side. And there's a lot of the times it's the slower side. People get too caught up in like get stronger, like you just need to be stronger. And it's like, yeah, but also like if you get faster in whatever you're doing. Like we're talking about bands, we're talking about the band, you will get stronger because I mean there's a bunch of shit with that. There's the neural adaptations, everything. But that's really interesting. One thing I was gonna say is the guy who's benching the low twos, like I wonder like I guess you would call it like a you might not call it this, and we don't even call it this, but like his like power match per se. Like so like what's the fastest speed or like what's the most weight he's moving the bench at like a really fast speed? Do you know like off the top of your head?
He's like remote, so he drives an hour.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, he
Yeah.
drives an hour and he comes only on Mondays. So he'll send me videos. But like
Yeah.
I don't really know because I only see him when we do lower body. So I know he does it
Yeah.
at his house. But
Yeah.
it's just one of those things too where it's like you have a really elite guy that's like he's probably gonna hit he if this is funny, he throws 97 like turbo sink or he throws 95 turbo sinkers, but his high school team is so bad they have a kid catching the first year and they can't catch him. So like all these pro scouts were coming to watch him and they literally like he stopped throwing this year like a month ago because they can't catch him. So he's just throwing pens for teams. But like he's such a gifted athlete. It's like, yeah, we can get your bench up and do all this stuff, but like he's probably gonna throw 97. He'll come out and pitch for us June 1st. But it's like, okay, is getting you to 230, 250 bench gonna help you? Yeah, it is, but at the same time, he's very weary of the bench, and
Yeah.
which I understand, but it's like you throw 97 and you're 18. But on the other side, the kid who's 5'6" that throws 92, hopefully he hits like 93, 94 this summer. He benches 335. His max strength, like he needs it, right? And he's also like really hypermobile. So you have two ends of the spectrum, right? And I don't want to look at a kid that's scared of benching and be like, you have to do this, right? Because
Yeah.
it's just one of those things. It's like, what is it worth the squeeze? Like he's probably gonna throw 100 one day with or without benching 250 or
Yeah.
315.
That's tough. Yeah.
Yeah, so
That's really tough.
I think I think when you talked with Fahey, he was like he asked you about like exit velocity and stuff, and you're like, I think your biggest thing was like the bench press for improving it. What do you think? Um, what in your opinion like you get a kid like what's going to be the biggest you know to improve in order to get the velocity to go up?
Like on the bench press.
No, just like so for me, when I tell kids about they ask me like how do I get my exit velocity up? I say number one, you're 150 pounds. If you just weighed 200 pounds,
Yeah.
if you just weighed 200, the fact of just being 200 pounds, you'd hit the ball harder. Then the second one I go for is like the jump, and then like if you can bench, but it's usually like a mix of the three. But it's for me, it's the body weight, it's the jumps, and then it's the bench. What would you say is kind of like for the throwing?
For the throwing,
Yeah.
I would definitely say the jump, like number one. Because I mean, we had a kid last year. He's like a buck 40, and he threw 93, and he jumped to 40. And like his lower body's really strong, but his upper body, I mean, he's a twig. He's
Hmm.
just like I like think about like the thing in front of the car dealerships that's like going up and down, right? Like that's what I would
Yeah.
like compare him to, right? But then you have some really gifted kids, that just move incredibly well. But for the throwing, like I think speed bench, in my opinion, speed bench and the jumps. Like I care about the squat, but the squat is going to make the jump better, right?
Yeah.
So it's like I
Yeah.
care about the jumps, and I care about really like your max strength is going to make your speed bench better, anyways. But we want to like constantly get that speed bench. Like in my opinion, I want to constantly see you move heavier weights faster against bands. But
Yeah.
like the max bench is going to make it do that anyways.
Yeah, it's kind of yeah, basically you're attacking getting the upper body stronger through the speed bench. You could give a fuck how quickly it goes as long as it continues to go up
Yeah,
with
and
the
like I
speed
want to
bench.
see kids bench a lot of weight. Like Carson, like he wants to bench 315, and like he's going to, which is like crazy. Um, but like like we hit on the Rapsodo, and he hit 107. It was like 107 something. And I mean, he has like probably the third or fourth highest bench, and he's a buck 80.
Mm.
So like pound for pound, like for hitting, I think bench press and the jump again. I think bench press is more important than the jump for exit velo. And like
Mm.
a baseball guy, like you can take some like grounded swings where you don't even move your legs, and like it's like two, three, four difference. Like it's nothing crazy, you
Yeah.
know. And then I think the Kaisers help a lot. on that, just like improving their sequencing and stuff. But I mean, I tell all the kids, I'm like, if you want your exit velo to go up, you have to bench press. Like I'm bench pressing the most I ever have, and I still go hit. And like, if Joe went and swing, like I don't know if you play baseball,
Yeah.
but like
It's
you
tough.
Yeah.
bench a lot, the sequencing needs to be
Yeah.
there.
Yep.
But if like you sequence like James, like you probably,
Yeah.
hit a ball
I
really
used to
hard.
troll the kids at the last place I worked all the time. Just like I was wrong, but I was also right in the sense that like I'd always tell them they were like super like into like this technique of like baseball, which is obviously super fucking important. But I'd troll them. I'd be like, oh yeah. I'd be like, nah, like I would just throw out crazy numbers. I'm like, oh pitch. I'm like on my first try, I'm getting like 93, 94, and they'd be like, "No way, that's impossible." And I'm just like, "Bro, like I literally bench 4 plates, like that's all you need." And it's like obviously that's not all you need for sure, but like yeah, but they were from the camp where it's like they almost needed a little bit of that because it's like, okay, am I right? No, not completely. Like, obviously, you can't. If that was true, then powerlifters would just go fucking play Major League Baseball and just make millions of dollars. But it's like they were from the side where it's like, bro, like you guys are fucking weak. You know what I mean? Like really undersized, weak, and you jump really low. It's like, you might need a little bit of this kind of thing, but and
Or it's
everybody,
like
yeah,
you take like me, James, Law, Carson, and then my boy DJ who benches like 340 and he plays baseball. It's like everything's 100 plus, and then take a
Yeah.
kid who benches 200. He's not a
yeah,
hundred for us. I can't name one kid in the gym that can hit a ball 100 that benches 200 pounds, except for the kid who throws 95. He's like probably like 100 off the tee.
yeah. That makes
Um,
yeah. I mean, there was a softball girl that I trained, and she was like, man, she was like 120. I don't know what her like numbers were velo wise, but I do know she was like 120, and she could bench 185 for one. And she was a freak, and she could jump a 31.5 too. And
that's crazy.
yeah, she was definitely gifted, like, she had some talent for sure, but, like, it wasn't all just, like, coaching or whatever, like, she definitely had a lot of talent, but she broke the state record for home runs for girls, and everyone would tell her, when the girls would come in, I'd be like, "Oh, do you know Kyla?" And they'd be like, "Oh, yeah, she cracks, like, she hits that ball," and in my head, I'm thinking of it as, like, yeah, I mean, she's fucking like really strong. I mean, 185, 120, I don't know what the ratio is like that, but it's really, really good. So that's interesting you said that bench is one of your priorities with Exit Velo. I wouldn't have expected it to be that high of a priority, but that's interesting that it is that way.
Yeah, I've been meaning to put like a spreadsheet together of like everyone's
Oh yeah, do
EV
that.
and like bench, but like I mean I can, but it's just hard for one to like, hey, let's go hit in the cage and get
Yeah.
these. And then two, it's like there's a sequencing aspect, like that's why it's
Yeah.
just so hard. It's like some of these
Oh,
kids
yeah.
just do not sequence good at all on the throw or in the when they swing, and then and then you have the kids that really do, and like it shows.
Yeah. All right. I think there's like 2 minutes left in this. I can close this out and start a new one if you guys want to keep it rolling.
I can't. Y'all can go, but I can't.
Okay. Um.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, dude. Just like we're probably gonna run these like every week. I think Fahey said something about hopping on one.
Yeah,
There was
Faye, dude. Yeah, Faye talked about it. Dude, there's a shit ton of people, but
yeah, but
we'll get some
dude,
people on here.
at the end of the day, like if you want to hop on these with us every week or every other week, like that would be sick.
Yeah,
Cause
yeah.
I mean, there's probably dude, it's been an hour and we could probably still keep it rolling.
I
Oh
know.
yeah, felt
Yeah.
like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, we'll do one. We're running 40s next week. Well, on the weekend. So we're
yeah.
probably gonna
Hopefully it
do.
doesn't rain like in the middle of it.
Yeah, I
Showing
mean,
what I'm worried about.
we'll be fine though. But we're gonna run 40. So like, we're probably gonna talk about that next week, like Jared's ratios and how that lines up with our guys. If you want to hop on that one, more than welcome.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Do Mondays work best, or what's kind of good for you?
Uh, yeah, it's just tough. Like sometimes I'm at the gym till like 11, like throwing BP to like Carson's like, you want to hit? I'm like, yeah, bro, like, let's hit. So, it just really depends. I would honestly
Yeah,
probably Thursdays are the best, but I mean, I can. It's just like I was telling Joe, I felt bad because I had to cancel, and I was like, "Bro, I'm running late," you
No,
know?
I'm
No,
dude,
that
I'm
dude,
glad
Yeah.
because
that
I
was
was like,
yeah.
bro, I'm trying to go to sleep. I'm really not trying to do this right now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
but
was
I
a much
mean,
better day than yesterday.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
to do this shit.
All right, but just I think it might cut out, but just hit us up. Like we'll let you know, and just tell us when you're good, and we'll run it.
Alright, cool, yeah.
All right,
All
dude.
right. See
Yeah,
you
nice
guys.
talking to y'all.
Yep. See you next time.
Peace.
See ya.